Hello everybody! Today we're gonna talk about my August wrap-up. Let's just jump right into the books real quick. So the first book I read was Scarlet from Marissa Meyer. It's the second book in the Lunar Chronicles and I gave it 4 stars. It follows the story of Scarlet. Her grandmother gets lost? Not lost. How is it if you get abducted? Is it a word? Damn it! Gets taken away from bad people. Scarlet wants to find her and save her, but nobody believes her. Everybody thinks that her grandmother just left her. And we still see what Cinder is up to from the first book. So I really enjoyed the second installment more than I did Cinder. The characters that were introduced in the second installment, they brought something more to the story. But what I didn't enjoy in this book is that they fall in love instantly. They were together for 2 days, I think. And they were already in love. Too fast and too convenient for the story. Yeah, not the biggest fan, but hopefully it will get better. The next book I read was Fangirl by Rowell, and of course I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because I freaking love Rowell. I don't know. Rowell is just so amazing. So Fangirl is about those 2 twin sisters, Kath and Ren. And they both start college together, but Ren is on this very different path. Kath is more of an introvert and she likes to write her fanfiction about Simon Snow. She enjoys very different things than her sister Brenda. She's more of the outgoing type and she likes to meet friends and party. They part in college. This decision is more made from her sister Ren, and Kath is now a little bit confused and sad. It's such a personal preference, but I love her writing style and I love her way of telling a story. It's not really an action-based storytelling, or there aren't really things that are happening, or not that much. It's much more character-driven story. And if you enjoy something like that, then this book is something for you. A quick tip, I read Carry On before I read Fangirl. I think I did it in the right order because Carry On spoilers nothing of Fangirl, but Fangirl spoilers a lot of things of Carry On. So if you haven't read both of them, then you may want to read it in that order because I think it's the better order. And then I listened to 2 audiobooks from Jenny Han. To All the Boys I Loved Before, and the second one, P.S. I Still Love You. It's about this girl, Lara Jean, and I think she's 16. She writes a letter when she's in love with someone. She writes them a letter and then she just closes the chapter and leaves the letter in this little box. And one day her sister gets angry and sends the letters all to the boy's address. You can guess that is not really what you want, and it's a super awkward situation. So there were a lot of cliches in this book, I will warn you, but I don't freaking mind. I mean, it's a romance book, it's always a little bit cheesy. One thing that stood out for me from this book was the relationship with the sisters. It's so similar with my sister and my relationship, and that's why I really appreciated to read it in a book, and I just felt really connected with my actual life. The first one was definitely better than the second one, and the second one has a much more anxious and jealous undertone in the storytelling, but I also really enjoyed it. I think it was entertaining, and I definitely gonna continue the series because I'm so excited to see what happens in the last book. The next book I read was Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, of course. Who hasn't read it in August? I gave it 3 stars. I already think that it's more of a 2 stars read for me because I think it was just okay. And I agree with everyone who says that in some ways it's awesome to get back into this world and get a new story and visit familiar and loved characters, but it's just not a book, it's a script. And I didn't enjoy reading the script. Everything is happening in such a fast pace, and I get that. It's a script, it has to go in a fast pace because you can't put a book into a screen completely like that. That's just, it doesn't work, and this big twist in the ending was so weird. With the Bellatrix part, everybody who read it knows what I'm talking about. I don't know, I just couldn't take it. I think it was like, no. Still, I had fun reading it, and I would love to see the play. I would love to see the like special effects and how they do everything with the stage. I would love to see it. And last but not least, let's talk about the book that put me in my massive reading slump. Pride and Prejudice from Jane Austen. It's about the Bennet family, Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Bennet, and they have 5 daughters and they're all unmarried. They need to marry because that was the nearly only thing you could do in that time, because it's like 1800. And one day Netherfield is getting rent from this rich Sir Mr. Bingley, and he brings along his friend Mr. Darcy and his sisters, and then they all meet. And then the story begins. I can't tell you how obsessed I am with this book. I read it twice in August. I watched the movie every single day for 1 week. I know, excessive. I watched a BBC series from 1995, and I just went so obsessed with everything Pride and Prejudice, and I can't even tell you why. I just think it's fantastically written. Jane Austen and her storytelling is amazing. I really want to read different stories, but Pride and Prejudice is such a beloved story in the Jane Austen club, and I was like, I don't know if anything can live up to it. And that was the problem with reading anything after Pride and Prejudice, because nothing compares to Pride and Prejudice. It's just perfect. So that's it for my August wrap up. I hope you had fun, and I will talk to you very soon. So bye! They were together like for 2 days, I think, and they're already in love. And okay, that went really quickly. I can't speak today.